Hello, it's the Rainy Duck and welcome back for another video. Today I've got 3 replays to show you in the Tier 7 Chinese Premium Light Tank, the Type 62. Now this is the level 25 Season Pass reward tank in the current season. So hopefully after this video I'll be able to show you what this tank can do and just share a little bit of my opinions on it. But if you want to see the crew and equipment setup I run in this tank, you'll be able to see that at the bottom of the screen as I speak. So the first replay we have for you today is here on Mali, where we are top tier, and we're quite heavily top tier in this one. Now, what is this tank? It's basically a light tank which has 180 alpha, a DPM of my setup of 2693, with 5 degrees of gun depression, some decent armour for a tier 7 light, but obviously it is a light tank, so the armour's not going to be great, but compared to other light tanks in its tier, the armour is okay. But I'm not massively a big fan of this light tank. I don't think it's great, if I'm honest, mainly because one, the penetration on the standard rounds, standard AP rounds, is only 145, and that's quite low. Like when you think you're going to come across some tier 9s, and like most of the tier 9s, you're just not going to be able to pen with 140 penetration, which does force you to use a lot of heat shells. Where the heat pen is 220 penetration, so that's decent enough penetration for a tier 7 light, and the heats are fine, but the shell velocity of both rounds is only 793, combined with like the accuracy of a 0.30. The two make the gun feel a little bit, it's not necessarily derpy, but it's just a slow combination of the poor shell velocity makes the gun handling not feel too good on this tank. And then you top off by only having 5 degrees of gun depression, which is understandable because it's a Chinese light tank. It just doesn't feel great, and I'm not a massive fan, if I'm honest, of this light tank. But it's in the season pass, level 25 award, and it's still okay. You can have fun, but I guess I enjoy playing light tanks, but that's really it. I'm not a massive fan of this tank, but we've got some good replays to show you anyway. And here on the first replay, as you can say, I am very top tier on this particular replay, and I've pushed into the middle of the map mainly to try and spot for my team and try and pick up some assistance damage and spot all these tanks which are coming across the hill, knowing that there's no enemy artillery in this game, but I don't have to worry about getting shot from the sky. But I do have to be concerned with once the enemy team have sort of won that hill area, they will be able to shoot down on top of me when I get spotted. So that is something I need to sort of concern myself with. But so far so good. We managed to pick up 1500 damage, a kill and a little bit of assistance here. And you can see these enemy tanks on the hill are now trying to shoot me. So I'm trying to not stay too stationary as I do there for that enemy light tank which manages to hit me. And I'm thinking I might actually have to get myself out of this location potentially, because I'm not really picking up the assistance I would hope for. And as you can see, the majority of our team are actually sitting on the 1-2 line there, which makes it a little bit difficult once the enemy team have completely won the hill uncontested there, because it allows them to just shoot down on us. We are trying our luck to see if we can finish off this enemy light tank on the hill. It would be nice to try and take him out of the game, but as you can see, the poor shell velocity firing over distance is going to make it very difficult to hit shots like that. And so it makes it awkward even to hit light tanks on the move. That poor shell velocity with the sort of gun handling makes it awkward. But we do manage to finish off that enemy light tank there, though, picking up our second kill and putting us on to about 2000 damage now, as we managed to get a shot into enemy tank which does get spotted on the other side. So there is stuff which is just driving in the open now in the middle, which is good for us. We've got kind of free farm. I think this tank destroyer's got caught out there. We do damage his ammo rack looking for the finish, but he just loses our spot before we're able to fire. And our team are very much in pole position to win this game. And now I'm going to try and push up a little bit further to try and get into the damage. I'm thinking with all of our tanks down the 1-2 line all the way at the bottom now, it gives me free reign, if you like, to come across down the riverbed, because I know I will have support and covering fire from the tanks which I actually do spot. And only 4 tanks remaining now. It's essentially on clean-up duty. How much more can we get out of this game before it comes to an end? So I'm going to go in and just take care of this enemy medium tank here. We put a couple of shots into him, then he gets killed by a friendly tank. We pick up a bit more resistance, and the 3 remaining tanks now are all on this hill, and we're just trying to get as much out of this as we can, like I say, before the game ends. We're on 3 kills, should be able to pick up the 4th there, which we do, and we pick up a bit more assistance as well for good measure. And now we're going to try and finish off this enemy medium tank and try and pick up our 5th kill of the game. Just one short of picking up that Top Gun medal there, and we do in fact pick up that kill, putting us under 3,200 damage with 1,000 assistance and 5 kills. So a decent game, but like I said, we were heavily top tier, although we had a decent base XP because of the fact that we're very high, we were very top tier. We've only got the 1st class on that one with the high caliber, but we've got 2 more replays to come, so let's move on to the 2nd replay of the video. Okay, so here we are for replay number 2, this time on Berlin. Again, no enemy artillery, quite a few light tanks, and it is tier 8 matchmaking. Now naturally Berlin is not a fantastic map to be playing a light tank in, but with no enemy artillery it does give us a little bit of freedom to play the field without having to get shot from the sky. So that is initially where we're going to go and play and to see what we can do from this location. So here we go, we push up into this position early, where we can try and just see if we can get the early damage, but we're struggling a little bit there with our 5 degrees of gun depression. And we've got to be careful of the tanks which may camp on the 1-2 line. But I've decided to go in as my other friendly light tanks have come in, and I'm going to see if I can try and help them out there. Might actually be able to get a few cross shots into the sort of city courtyard if you like. But looking at the mini-map with a lot of tanks in front of us, and we need to try and deal with these. Kind of miss an easy shot there on that enemy medium, but then this Dragon is just full committed into the middle. I don't really want to get shot by the Dragon because it will eat pretty much half of my hit points, but yeah, they've made a mistake there. They just drove in front of 3 tanks, and we've been able to take them out, and we picked up a little bit of damage and also take care of a top tier medium tank, which could have been very dangerous to us. And then this enemy light tank gets set on fire there, and he gets taken out as well. So we're actually doing pretty well in this engagement. It could have gone a lot worse for us. We're going to try and get a shot into the enemy tank destroyer there, camping on the hill, and just see if we can then focus out this enemy top tier heavy tank. Got to be careful if he's running the sort of the double barrel mechanic. He can double tap us, which I wouldn't really like. It also has fantastic DPM. But we have a little bit of support of this light tank. I'm just trying to get as many shots in as I possibly can. We do damage his ammo rack there, which is really nice. It's going to slow down his DPM. Gives an opportunity to ammo rack to detonate his ammo rack as well. But he has now repaired the ammo rack. He puts 1 shot into us, and we're going to try and avoid eating another one for him. So we go behind him, but we then do eat a shot off of that tank destroyer in the corner. Still a close game. As you can see, 9 versus 10. We are actually technically losing this game, but we've had a decent start. Picked up 1 kill, puts under 2,000 damage. Do not want to get shot by that Chinese medium tank in there because it will one-shot us. Sorry, heavy tank. So we've got to be very careful of that tank. And it's very much a close battle. We've pretty much won this side, apart from the 2 remaining tanks on the other, on the corner of the 1-2 line. One is the tier 6 tank destroyer, and one is the 1-shot medium tank to us. We are going to push aggressively because we're losing the other side, and I need to just get over and try and win this side. Unfortunately for me, the enemy Churchill tank destroyer puts a shot into us, which puts us onto 300 hit points and is far from ideal. But we need to just get rid of this TD very quickly because, like I said, we're losing the other side. We're in danger of the enemy team pushing through and going for the cap reset. So we're going to try and come in and help our friendly light tank here. Unfortunately, our light tank does get shut down. We may actually end up eating another shot because of that, which in fact does, and puts us onto a 1-shot. At least we get the finish. We're on about 3,000 damage now with 2 kills on a map which again is not great for a light tank. So we've done okay, but we haven't got any hit points left to play with. We are 1-shot to everything. This enemy Chinese, the new Chinese heavy tank, can just splash us with the HE as well, but we do manage to put 2 shots into his lower plate there because we can pen that lower plate with the heat shells. We've got 220 penetration, and we shoot that very lower part of the lower plate. We can actually pen it, and we managed to do that successfully. That's puts them to just shy of or just over 3,000 damage, 3,200 damage with 4 tanks remaining, and this game is looking a lot more winnable for us now. We've taken the advantage. It's definitely not won, but it is looking, obviously we have the advantage with the tanks here. So I want to try and get some shots into this enemy tank here. As you see, we can pen the lower part of the lower plate. We do have to aim a little bit, at the bottom side of it. But I have to be careful. Like I say, this tank only has to shoot me with the HE, and he will easily splash me. I've only got 77 hit points left. We put one in through the side of the turret, and he gets finished off shortly after by our friendly ISM there, which is nice. The other enemy light tank is looking to kill us. As see, we are a one-shot. Got to be careful. But we're on 2 kills, 3,400 damage now. And we've got the enemy light tank and the enemy heavy tank, which is a VK. I've only actually got 4 heat shells left, and I'm probably going to need them because this enemy heavy tank is quite armoured. And like I say, unless we get the side of his turret or the rear of his turret, we will struggle to pen it because we only have the 145 penetration. So yeah, we perhaps should have been a bit more careful earlier doors with our management of our shells there. But let's see if he's distracted. If he's distracted, we might be able to get sort of rear shots onto this tank. But I've got to be careful with a one shot. But he is showing the side of his turret, which is good news for us. And his ammo rack's damaged. That shell did not go where I wanted it to. We put a second shot in, but now we shoot at the back or the sort of central, we might be able to ammo rack that tank. And we do detonate the ammo rack, which jumps us up to 4,200 damage on 3 kills on the tier 8 matchmaking on Berlin, which again is not the favourable map for the light tank. So we've done well in that engagement, and that, to be honest, should be enough to... I'll be surprised if this wasn't an ace tanker. So let's get on to the end credits and see how we finish that one off with. We do in fact get 3 kills, 4,300 damage, 200 assistance, and the ace tanker there with the high caliber with sort of over 2,100 base XP. So one final last replay to come, and I will see you over there in a bit. Okay, so here we are for the final replay on Westfield Encounter. Now Westfield is, a lot more traditionally a better map for a light tank, but we do have quite a lot of light tanks in this matchmaking. It is tier 8 matchmaking, and having that many light tanks is a bit of a nuisance because it makes it awkward, i.e. for you to spot, because the enemy light tanks could potentially be driving around like headless chickens, making it a bit awkward, making it more likely for you to get detected. And also you're competing for the assistance as well. So ideally I prefer it when there's only like 2 light tanks on each team. When you've got that many light tanks, it's a little bit more of a problem. But with it being Westfield, we are going to try and spot the cross. It is the encounter battle, and we do spot a couple of the tanks crossing at the start there, which is what we want to do because we might pick up some assistance if we catch out any tanks there. We get a nice shot into this other enemy light tank here, and he's caught out in an awkward situation. We put a blind shot in there, putting us onto an early start of 300 damage and a tiny bit of a spotting assistance here. Now you can see I'm reversing to try and extend my view range as far as I possibly can, but I'm reversing because if I do get detected, I know I'm in a very risky spot and I want to try and get out of dodge as quickly as I possibly can to minimise the chance of getting hit, I guess. But what I could really do with, you can see a lot of the enemy tanks are on the 1-2 line on the other side. I need these light tanks on the 9-0 to get destroyed. Now we get spotted there. I'm not really getting targeted though, I'm just getting spotted. It makes me think most of the tanks are up high on the 1-2 line, and there's probably not that much down the 8-9. If we can get rid of those light tanks, we can then move on from this game. We do though get spotted again. We are picking up the assistance for that though, so we're getting some rewards to our risk, if you like, and I'm getting a bit confident in the fact that no one's actually shooting me when I'm getting detected here, and that we could probably pay the price for that in a second, but so far so good. We've picked up about 1,000 assistance, and I really want to continue lighting these tanks at the sort of G3-4 area, because I know our tanks on the hill behind me have shots at these tanks, so they're the targets which I'm going to pick up assistance for. So I'm trying to spot them as much as I can. So we pick up another bit of assistance there, and now I've spotted that enemy Tiger 2. I'm thinking he surely is going to start to get taken out there. Unfortunately though, we eat a shot there from something which puts us on to 554 hit points. So not ideal, to be honest with you. but we're starting to take the lead quite heavily in this game. So I go back to try and spot this Tiger 2 again, thinking he's going to get shot at by my friendly team sort of camping. But then this VK comes out of sort of nowhere, and we end up eating a shot off the Tiger 2, which puts me on a one shot to a lot of the tanks. Sorry, I think Tiger 1, I think, but it puts me on a one shot, and that's really not great. But at least that Tiger is getting slapped by our team, and we're picking up the assistance. So at least my loss of hit points wasn't for nothing, but it does mean it's just not ideal. But I'm still going to continue trying to light this tank as much as I can, because our team have pushed down to 9-0 now. So I think that side I'm probably not going to get shot at by the light tanks on the other side. I just have to worry about what's in front of me. They do have a tank in the cap circle. I'm not concerned in the slightest that he's going to be able to cap out, because he's got 2 minutes left and we've got a lot of time to deal with that. But at least it gives me an idea where something is. I'm just reversing this in case I proxy spot him so he gets shot, and trying to keep that Tiger lit. That Tiger has now been taken care of, giving me a little bit more freedom again to move up and try and spot. We do in fact spot the tank in the cap circle, and he gets shot as well, putting us up to about 3,000 assistance. So it's been, I guess, a bit more of a traditional light tank game in the sense that, or at least an active light tank game, because we're picking up this assistance here. We're not necessarily spotting from a bush, we're just trying to get in there and physically light these tanks up by getting underneath the ridge here. So we're going to continue this advance, spotting for our friendly tanks on the other side can shoot. We managed to squeeze a little shot into that tank in the cap circle. I would like to get rid of that tank just so it gets rid of that angle, but you can see I am getting targeted there, which it must be something above. I'm being conscious that this medium tank's not going to try and full send me here, but he gets shut down by our J Panther 2, and that threat is now dealt with, and we're on about 700 damage with 3,000 spot assistance. So only 6 tanks remaining. Again, we spot a full health VK and we damage his ammo rack, and I'm thinking, oh, that'd be nice if we could full health ammo rack that VK. But the enemy fun police, the enemy artillery, is looking to try and spoil the fun there, and is targeting us when we get higher up on that ridge. And again, we are definitely a one shot to that VK. And it looks like the enemy artillery has been spotted though, and is getting taken out by our M42, which is nice. We don't have to worry about that threat. It's now 5 versus 8. We're still getting assistance from this VK and also picking up damage as well, because so far we don't have a lot of damage, but we have got a decent amount of assistance there, putting us on to 3,700 spot assistance now with 1,200 damage. Squeeze another shot into the VK, damaging his ammo rack again, and puts him onto a one shot, but the VK is looking to shoot us, so we've got to be a little bit careful, and the VK does in fact shut down the M42, and we get spot targeted again when we poke, which we assume is from the VK in that cap circle looking at us. But again, we don't have to worry necessarily about getting capped out. It's 3 minutes on the clock. There's only one tank in there. That's not a big concern. But he's getting closer though, 7 versus 5, and we're just trying to. I'm kind of hoping that VK was going to get shot by our TDs on the other side, but I'm guessing he's probably behind a building, or they clearly don't have clear shots. So it looked like the tanks on the 1, 2, 3 ridge were starting to win that side, and I was thinking maybe they're going to push across towards our friendly artillery, our friendly fun police, and I might be able to spot them when they make that advance, and either get some assistance or get some damage as that happens. But they haven't spotted, so I'm thinking, well, maybe they're just going to push back the other way, or they're just going to sit on this ridge. But I want to keep this VK detected, because he may be able to get, not necessarily shot by our friendly TDs, but our friendly artillery, might be able to get a shot into it and finish him off. Bear in mind, he's only on 100 hit points. But then this enemy medium tank here, full health, comes around, and this is not ideal. We need to keep our distance from this tank, or he's going to be able to sort of we want a one shot, so he's going to be able to easily take us out here. We do try and squeeze in one shot or punish, which we do. We have our friendly tank destroyer with us here as well. I don't really want to leave him to die, but I've kind of got no choice but to run now, otherwise I'm going to lose that engagement. I need to try and get my distance. As we make our escape, we see our friendly artillery is getting shot, which tells us that there is tanks at the sort of B6-5 area, and I don't want to get spotted by them. Our friendly artillery does go down, and I'm trying to get my distance now, because this game has suddenly got a lot closer. 4 versus 3, and it's gone from having a massive advantage to not necessarily having a very big advantage now. We are very low hit points, so this is not ideal. We do spot this enemy tank destroyer though on the other side. We're just going to try and extend our distance so that when we shoot, we're not going to get detected. We want to make sure we're outside of the detection area, so we can sort of at least try and free farm these tanks. Now this enemy, the new Chinese heavy tank, you see only has like 45 armor profile on the roof, so you can see there we can easily pen that tank when he, from the roof, and that is the weakness of this tank. If you're ever shooting above this tank and you've got shots like that on the roof, as you can see there, we hit him again. It is actually an easy pen, so it's not going to take long for you to figure that out, but that is just always something to note. Pen the roof of those tanks, it's an easy penetrational shot. Now unfortunately we lose the spot on that tank, so we can't continue shooting it, and this enemy Bison is facing frontally to us hold down, so it's a little bit awkward. We're going to try and squeeze the kill shot though onto that enemy heavy tank, but I don't pull the trigger because I didn't think I was going to hit, and I don't want to risk getting spotted because then I'm a free kill to this enemy Bison. If I get spotted here, it's kind of game over because he's got easy shots onto me. I'm only safe because I'm not detected. I'm trying to find a way to finish him off here, and he gets shut down by our friendly Emil. It brings it back to a 4 versus 2. One of the enemy tanks is a one shot, so I think let's go in and kill this enemy heavy tank. And then I was not expecting this. The enemy G-Saw comes up, and I know I'm dead. It's a 4-shot autoloader. And that was kind of really frustrating, to be honest, because he was full health and I was having a good game. And I was actually considering going the other way, which I should have done. And now we're in danger of not winning this game. As it turns out, spoiler alert, we do. So we'll skip ahead to the scoreboard. But I could add so much more out of that game, which was a shame. So let's jump ahead and we'll say our goodbyes. Okay, so there we have it. We do manage to get the win. It's a shame that it ended that way. I could have had more out of that game, but nevertheless, we did get 2,000 damage, 4,000 assistance. Only the first class, because when we died, we lose XP for that, and we didn't get any kills. And assistance doesn't really give us a lot of base XP, even though we did have a big impact on the outcome of that game. So that's it. That's my opinions, I guess, on the Type 62. I don't think it's a fantastic light tank, but I still enjoy playing it just because I enjoy playing light tanks. So it's not horrendous. It's basically the Dragon. It's an unskinned version of the Dragon tank. So there you go. Thanks for your support, and as always, happy tanking.
Enemy in sight.